There's a car in space now. So on the last episode of Because Science, I was talking about the science of going Super Saiyan, the science of doing that kind of sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger doing that, which is even better now that I think about it. But the episode was about trying to find some theory or some law or data that could explain what we observe that happens when someone like Goku from Dragon Ball Z goes Super Saiyan. They create the aura, the hair stands on end and changes color, electricity forms randomly around them, and they can create hot, damaging energy balls. I said that he, or life force in the show, is really closer to mastering electric potentials, being able to marshal and move mountains of, nope, couldn't finish it off, electric charge around your body. I was going for all that alliteration. And I think that could explain all of the cool stuff that we see and how hair goes all cray. Mine is back right now. But what did you have to say? Well, I'm gonna assume that it was mostly positive, just like the last episode that you completely agreed with me on. There were a few Notice Me Senpais because I'm actually not able to review what you said on the last episode because I'm traveling right now. So instead, this week, I will be looking at all the comments that you usually send me across Because Science handles and my personal handles to see what weirdness you have for me, what questions, comments, concerns, propositions. It's how the sausage is made. Ooh. First comment this week comes from Wixhen. Wixheaven. Whoever that is says that the appearances in Dragon Ball Z are quite easy to explain. The yellow hair is each individual strand of hair giving off a light, while the remaining pigment of the hair tinges it to yellow color as each part of the body holds energy. Super Saiyan 2 is bodied. There's a lot there, but what this person says is more or less that it is electrical charges moving throughout the body, which I agree with. However, you gotta be careful here. I've heard a lot of hippies talk about the electric body theory. The fact that because there are electric potentials in the body, between nerves in the brain, around cells, that means that it's possibly something that we can control and that you could actually muster and have electrical powers. This is something that the Matrix gets into as well, where you hook everybody, a bunch of babies up to a battery system, and you harness their BTUs, body heat, British thermal units, you know that, of body heat, and also the body's electrical capabilities. However, it is such a small amount of voltage that I don't think you'd be able to power a basic analog clock with it. So we're not talking about anything that Wixheaven is talking about here, where you could take all the electricity in your body and if you put it in between your hands, it would form plasma. I don't think so. Because as we went through in the episode, it takes 10,000 volts of electricity per centimeter of air to break down an air to form a spark gap in air. And I don't think there's that much in your body, although I could check. I don't have to look. I took Mavis Beacon. Yeah, we're talking millivolts here. Nothing in the thousands of volts. That's 1,000,000 times less. So yes, electric potentials for Super Saiyans. No electric potential inside your own body turning into a matrix battery or possibly a plasma throwing super dude or super gal. Second comment for today comes from Lucas Dazan. Ooh, you should open up a Dazan studio. Oh, and you ask, how about hints and tips, chemistry-based, about having glorious hair like yours? Please. Well, with that, I'd like to start our reoccurring segment that we like to call Mane-Tain. Oh yeah. Chemistry-wise, do you know what annoys me about hair this is just genetics, I'm lucky. You know what's annoying about hair products is that they prey on a lack of scientific literacy for how something like hair works. So when you see shampoos and conditioners with vitamins for your hair, that would be great if your hair was alive and able to metabolize, able to process chemicals or vitamins that you put on it, but hair is not alive. Hair is dead. If you wanted to get vitamins into your hair and into your follicles, this is something you'd have to ingest or apply topically. Just putting shiny stuff on protein, it's not going to do anything. It's going to wash right off. However, if it is something like an oil that stays on your hair and gives it a shine, yeah, that works. But your hair doesn't need vitamins if you're putting it on the hair. Your hair don't have no mouth. Science. I'll do it better next time. Next comment comes from Ayush Kerr. What do you think about the new nanotech Ironman suit in Infinity War? It's really cool. I believe it comes from the comic, bing, the Bleeding Edge armor is what they call it in the comics, and it is made out of nanobots that come out of Tony Stark's body and cover him in an armor. Yeah, that's awesome. Problem though, where does it come from? If the nanobots are in Tony's body and then they come out of his body through his pores to cover him in a heavy suit, where's it all stored? Do you think he has like 200 pounds of nanobots under his skin? Where's he storing it? There's a mass problem, is what I'm getting at. The mass can't just appear or disappear from nowhere. You can't create or destroy matter. It just transmits into different forms. So where does his suit go? It's the same problem with the Hulk. Where's the mass come from? Where's all them gains come from? When he gets bigger, the only solution is that the Hulk's density is changing. So his volume is getting bigger, but his mass is staying the same. Thus, he'd be less dense. And he might start floating at some volume, which you could calculate. Or the flip side is that the Hulk is huge and very heavy, and when he goes back to Bruce Banner is hyper dense. He's like a little scientist in a blazer, but he's thick. 2 C's for cubic centimeters, which is a measure of volume. Wow, I'm on fire today. Next comment comes from Dion Spates. Please do a ASMR episode.
Now, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to do that and make an episode?
Next question, straight from my Instagram where you're sliding into my DMs. If human can't see air but can see water, is fish can see air but can't see water? Double question mark with a double comma, which means it's double important. I don't know if fish can see air like we can see water, although it wouldn't surprise me because human eyes share ancestor eyes from when our ancestors lived in the seas. And because water and air are of different densities, the eyes need to be evolved in such a way to deal with how light moves through it. So for example, when light from this light that you can't see is going through the air into my eye, through the cornea, it is encountering a different density of material as it passes through, which causes the light to change speed, which causes the light to bend. And then your lens has been evolved to deal with that bending and focus it. Our lens is evolved to look something like this, kind of M&M shaped. And if you've ever dissected a human eye, it is. Don't look at me like that.
Does it taste like an M&M?
No, it's really hard though. It slips out of your fingers like whoop, and it's like soap in a shower. Anyway, fish eyes, on the other hand, have evolved to be more spherical. And that is because the light is entering their eye first through a different medium. When light is going through seawater, the density of the seawater and of whatever is in the fish's eye is closer than it is for us with air and our eye. So it doesn't bend as much as it goes through a fish's eye, which means the lens can be more spherical. All of that is to say, when you catch a fish on the end of a hook and you bring it up into the air, it might look pretty dang trippy up there to them. They're probably screaming on the inside. Next question also comes from Instagram. Can you make a video explaining time dilation with reference to comics? I think I have before, if you go back to any of my Flash episodes, but let's say that the Flash is immune to the effects of relativity because of the Speed Force. He's immune to a lot of stuff. If the Flash grabbed you by the collar and slowly pulled you up to his speed, he slowly started running, it'd be such a sinister form of an attack. There is a theoretical speed at which he could grab you and pull you along at for, I don't know, a minute, a few seconds, and when he let go, everyone you knew and loved is dead. Add that to your comics. DC. He's one of the Justice League. Okay. Another comment from Instagram from E_U_J. Hey, I'm your fan. Have you ever listened to your Brazilian voice? No, I haven't. Let's take a listen.
Envolve mais design, criatividade, matemática e pouco de sorte. Isso ainda não apareceu muito evidente.
All right. What do you think? This is from when I hosted a show called Mythbusters The Search on the Science Channel, translated for Brazilian audiences. What do you think? Is that pretty close? Claro que sí. That was Spanish. They don't speak Spanish there. They speak Portuguesa. Italian style, I guess. For our last comment this week, we have Brett Bates, and I took this straight from the last vlog, again, because I'm traveling, but I will be checking all the Because Science handles and channels for comments just like this every week. Brett Bates commented, hey, Kyle, what scientific inaccuracy that almost everyone thinks is fact in life irks you the most? I gotta be honest with you, Brett. Pretty much everything about life irks me, and it's spelled with an I. But I don't want to just moan. Something that I think is a scientific fact that statistical fact that people don't consider, which might actually help make people's lives better, is something called regression to the mean. And regression to the mean is usually used in medicine and is a statistical statement that says no matter how extreme things are, they will more likely than not, because they are extreme, regress, go back to the mean, the average. So if you are having the best day of your life, more likely than not, the next day is probably not also going to be the best day of your life. It is going to go back to an average, which sounds like it's depressing. But how I like to think of it, even on the worst day of your life, even when you feel like nothing can get any better, or you feel sick or tired and like nothing is worth it, more likely than not, when you're feeling your worst, your best is more probable than more worst, which I like to think about when I'm feeling sad, which is all the time. So if I had to pick a best comment for this week, it's going to you, Brett Bates. You are a super nerd. Thank you, because sometimes it's hard to remember that on average, you'll be average. This week's new episode of Because Science is going to be Black Panther's suit. How does Black Panther's famous vibranium suit work? Over the years, vibranium is one of my most requested topics, and I have avoided it because it is one of those things with so much history that it's hard to make sense of, because there are so many conflicting ideas about how it works and in what circumstances can it break and what can it do, blah, blah, blah. So what I did is take scenes from the new movie, there's no spoilers in this episode though, and see if I could come up with a design for Black Panther's suit using vibranium, which we know absorbs kinetic energy, that would make sense. And I think I came up with a decent explanation, even though it's not canon, but canon doesn't explain it. So that's where science comes in. And who knows, if you tweet it at the people who write the comics, we might get them to change it. It's happened before. The design that I came up with for the vibranium suit, I think makes pretty decent sense in that it can transform kinetic energy into another usable form of energy that, if released all at once, could be car crushing and produce shockwaves in the air. Black Panther hates cars. So go watch the last episode of Because Science, if you haven't, all about Dragon Ball Z, and tell me what you think there in the comments, and tell me what you think here about our new format in the comments. I read every comment, even though they tell me not to do so. It does make me sad sometimes. But I will be pulling comments, questions, corrections from across Because Science properties every week to do just this and highlight my super nerd of the week. That's facebook.com/BecauseScience, youtube.com/BecauseScience, and @BecauseScience on Twitter and Instagram. And don't forget, if you shoot for the moon and miss, you're still trillions of kilometers away from any stars, and you're not gonna make it there, at least not for thousands and thousands of years. So you failed twice. You know what you should do instead? Launch a car rocket. What? Spaceman! Can't say more, because it's illegal. That is it for today's Because Science Footnotes, but if you want more of me, you can go right now back to Nerdist.com or Nerdist YouTube and check out Musquatch with me and Dan Casey, or you can go to ProjectAlpha.com and sign up for a free 30-day trial and check out the Space Program, a premium show with me, where my hair is also back. Or you can get Because Science, the main episodes, 2 days earlier than everyone else. Hey, thanks. I'm working on it. It's getting better. Don't shake your head at me. Does my hair look okay?